Right fellas, welcome back to a brand new video. This is my latest project. It's an F-Reg 2-wheel drive Sapphire Cosworth. It hasn't been MOT'd since 2014. We had to get it trailered back home. Once we got it back home, my mate Dan came round and he gives us a hand to give it a clean. We cleaned the outside, the inside, even the underside. Once it was clean enough to work on, it turns out the brakes weren't working. So what I had to do was remove the brake servo and fix the actual electric motor on the servo just to get the brakes working. It was a lot of trouble. On my last video we fitted a genuine 2-wheel drive Sapphire Cosworth front splitter and some door strips. We then pulled the car outside, cleaned behind the rear bumper to fix one of the brackets on the bumper. It was my first time plastic welding anything. It turned out pretty good. The problems haven't stopped. Right now you'll notice there's a battery charger connected to the battery. Going to a battery charger, going to the wall. Now the problem we've got is when the car's running, if I put a voltmeter on these terminals, I'm only getting 12 volts when the car's running. It should be at 13.5. So I think the alternator's on the way out. So what I'm going to do is, we're going to spin the car around and we're going to do some investigation. So first things first, let's pull this car out the garage, spin this round, put that back in. Got the 3-door in the garage. Now let us show you how an alternator should work. So if I put this multimeter on the battery with the engine running, it should read about 13 to 13.5 volts. I'll put that there so you can see it. You see there, 11 volts. So the battery is getting low, needs charging. See it going down there as the engine's running. So the engine at the minute is just purely running off the car battery. So the alternator isn't charging the battery. So I'm going to knock it off before it just cuts out. Now, while I search the alternator and do some research, find out what I'm going to do, whether I'll refurbish this one myself or buy another one. I did buy a new alternator before for the 3-door, like a cheap Chinese one, and it basically started overcharging and the battery bubbled over and spat brake acid everywhere and took paint off stuff. So I don't know what I want to do. I don't want to get another cheap Chinese alternator. I might get like another good quality Bosch one or something. So if you look here on the Sapphire, you see this scuttle panel bit, this one's broke, so I'll crack along the top here. I'm guessing just over time, with the car being out in the sun, it's just the plastic's gone brittle and it's starting to fall to bits. So here we have a new part. Huge thanks to Tony Aston for supplying this. If you want any old retro Ford parts, Tony is the man. If he'll let us, I'll chat with him, but I'll leave a link to his Facebook below. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that snap plastic one off the SAF and we'll put this nice new second-hand one back on. So to take this tatty broken one off, first thing we're going to do is take these wiper arms off. These are just held on with some 10mm nuts. I'm going to put this nut back on here so I don't lose it. Then we'll do the driver's side. I had to use a short screwdriver here, fellas. I couldn't get in because of the bonnet, so like I say, I had to use a short one to get my fat fingers in to take the screws out. Once the plastic's off, there's loads of space, and once I got the plastic off, I noticed how dirty this wiper mechanism is. So I thought I might as well take it off, clean it up, put all new bolts on, just so it looks mint for when we build it back up. Once I undone the bolts, you just need to disconnect it from the car. We'll put it on the bench. There's a couple of nuts and bolts to remove, just to strip it down so we can blast it, clean it up and make it look mint. So once we've got the wiper arm mechanism in the sandblaster, you've got to wear these gloves, otherwise it'll just blast your skin off and you'll end up with bones for fingers. The sandblaster only removes paint and rust and will not remove any metal. Once we've blasted it, I'll put it in my paint booth, we'll give it a lick of some gloss black paint. But you can see where I've removed it, it's kind of a bit dirty underneath, so I thought while we've got it off, I'll get some auto glim and we'll give it a buff up, just so it looks mint. That is looking better already. Let's take a quick second to thank the fantastic sponsor of today's video, NordVPN. I've been a Nord customer for years, and if you still haven't checked it out, you're missing out, especially with the peace of mind that comes from securing your online data and your internet activity. With NordVPN, all your personal internet data is secured behind a wall of next generation encryption, and Nord internet servers are ultra fast, so there's no sacrifice in speed for security. With Nord you get both. Nord is incredibly useful for me personally because I have to share a lot of large video files securely, which with Nord is absolutely not a problem thanks to hundreds of secure peer-to-peer servers. Nord is also incredibly useful for getting the most out of all your streaming services, because what you can do is you can change your IP address so your internet provider thinks you're in America, so then you can get American Netflix and American Amazon. You can use Nord to protect all your data today and get the most out of all your streaming services that have different licensing agreements across different regions of the world. If you're still not sure if NordVPN is for you, if you click the link in the description of this video, you'll get Nord risk-free for 30 days with a money-back guarantee. So let's get back to it, and thanks Nord for sponsoring this video. Let's see if the paint's dried on the wiper mechanism. There's no runs or anything in this. It's been blasted, painted, and looking good. I've also painted up my wiper arms just so they look nice and new and nice and shiny. I've done them gloss. If I do it again, I think I'll probably go with a satin, but they do look good and certainly better than the rusty faded ones that were on. I've also got, wait there, new screws and bolts to bolt it all back together. So new washers and that. I've just got loads of new bits to bolt it all back together so it looks mint. Let's get on with building it back up and getting it back on the car. So first thing, we'll get the motor and we'll assemble this back on. We'll put the motor on the bench, get the mechanism. We've got some nice new zinc plated bolts. Gives a nice contrast against the black, and it's kind of what Ford would use from factory. It's my favourite bit, this, building stuff back up. I've got my oil can here, it's got some engine oil in. I'm just going to squirt it on the rubbers just to help them slide in the holes nice and easy. Nothing's wrong with me yet, but maybe this bow tie was too much. I just have to be cool, looking like I'm Clint Eastwood. Ain't the bad or ugly, my mama said that I'm the good. We went to the club. While I've got my oil can here, I'm also going to lube up the mechanism. It probably hasn't been lubed up in 30 years, so it's not going to do any harm to put some engine oil all over it. There we go, fellas, it's all built up, looking good. Let's take it over to the car and get it bolted on. So to put it back on the car, there's literally just one electrical connector, super simple. I've also got some nice new bolts to clamp it all down. How mint does that look, man, fellas? I'm over the moon with how this has turned out. there's the motor all fitted. Before we fit this, like the scuttle panel part, the new one, I'm going to turn the ignition on and give like the wiper motor one sweep round, just turn it on so I know the motor's in the resting position for when I refit like the wiper arms. So I don't want to turn my wipers on when it's not in the resting position and they go down and scratch on my bonnet and that. So like I say, I'm going to turn the ignition on and turn the wipers on and the motor will spin just so we know it's in the resting position. I hope that makes sense. I need them working there. Right, let's try it. I haven't even tried the wipers. I don't even know if they work. I've never had the wipers on the car. There, they're working there. Try it on high speed. Right, knock that off. Let's refit the plastic part below the windscreen. This isn't like a specific Cosworth part. This is just like a generic Sierra Sapphire part. That's what goes below the windscreen. So we'll fit this, then we'll fit the wiper arms. So to fit the lower plastic part, you need to fit the windscreen squirters. These are super simple to fit. It's just a case of clipping them in the plastic, then fitting the hose on the bottom. So the plastic panel is in place. It's held in by 2 screws, one each side the windscreen. Then there's 3 sets of clips, and each clip has got like this little plastic bit. Then there's a black screw thing that goes in. Then there's a little cover that goes on the top of all that to cover it all up. So I'll show you how that goes together. First, that goes in. You need to be careful here. This plastic is over 30-year-old and it is quite brittle. Next, with the bonnet down, let's fit the wiper arms. So as earlier, we'll set the wipers away so these should be in the resting position. So all we need to do is fit these wiper arms where I want it to sit when the wipers are off. Right, so if we push that up, there we go. Something like that. And it's one 13mm nut to nip it all up. Then put these covers back on the nut, like that. I've got the arms on, so what we're going to do now is we're going to lift the arms up and we'll turn the ignition on and we'll set the wipers away and make sure they look like they're going in the general direction. If they do look good, we'll put the arms back down and try them again. Right, we're there. Keys. Let's get the keys. That in there. Right, let's put them down. And that one. Let's flick this. Jobs are good and oh, that thing's popped up, look. Looks good. Knock that off. Check that out. That is all sorted. I'm just going to give it this black, like a quick spruce up with just some black renovation type stuff, just so it doesn't look as like faded. How mint does that look, man, fellas? I'm over the moon with how this has turned out. The next job is this bit here. You see the handbrake button that's been chewed up off by a little pesky mouse. I can't be living with the handbrake button like that. Every time I press that handbrake button, I'll be thinking that needs sorting out that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all this centre console out for that, just to change that little button. The problem we've got is long gone are the days when you would ring a breaker and say, I need a handbrake for a Sierra Cosworth. Them days are long gone. So what we've got is a poverty spec handbrake thing. You see how it's got the gator on and the handle's different. It's all totally different, right? I'll show you. The one on the car, it's kind of got one big long handle and it's built in here and it's all kind of got the armrest and that built in. The one we've got has got a short little stumpy handle and a rubber boot. But I'm thinking Ford didn't make a load of different handbrakes. The prices got different bits attached on. So what we're going to do is we're going to strip this back to the bare bones, take that one out of the car and see if we can make one Sierra Cosworth one out of a Sierra Cosworth one and a low spec one. So first thing to do is we're going to take this one to bits. Watching my fingers, we'll just cut that down there. Then we'll pull that off. Then we need to get this bit off the handle. The handle's stuck on, so what we'll do is we'll put it in the vise. Then we'll get our thumb finder and we'll knock this off. Guessing this will come off. Oh, yes, come on, come on. Right, so there's the handle we've just knocked off. Then we've got this kind of bare bones handbrake assembly. So we'll take the one out of the car and see if we can get it to look something like this. Might not work this, but you've got to try, haven't you? You've got to try. Now it is unfortunate to pull this interior to bits. I have just finished putting it together, but let's see, we need to change that button. So I've got my screwdriver. Let's start taking screws out and seeing if we can get all this handbrake assembly out of the car and swap it over. We've got all the centre console out, so there is the handbrake. I'm going to assume we can keep this bit will slide off, so we can put that on the new one. So you can see there's just some 13mm bolts there. We've got one there and there's one on that side, so we'll take them off and see what happens from there. I think what I need to do now is get under the car and see what's holding it on underneath. What I think it's going to be is just a handbrake cable. I mean, it would make sense, wouldn't it? So let's jack the car up and see what's going on under this floor. Let's get under. I must admit, the older I get, the more and more I dislike going under cars. Might have to drop that prop shaft down. What we've got, let's have a look. So I did drop the prop shaft and I didn't need to, but hey, we'll live and learn. Like that, this little D-shaped thing, there's some nuts on it. You see them two nuts there? That's what I need to get off. Right, I think I'm going to have to take that back wheel off and take the handbrake cable off the caliper. There we go. Now, according to my calculations, this handbrake now should just pull out. Come on, come on. Stuck on a little rubber boot thing there. There we go. Getting that out was a bit more of a challenge than I thought. The problem was, in this bit here, there's meant to be a pin in there, and someone had put like a nut and bolt in, so I was having trouble getting my spanner on the top and the nuts underneath. Really, there should be a little pin in there, so I'll probably just order a brand new handbrake cable just so I can get a little pin to go through there. So next time, if I do it, or if anyone else does a handbrake on this car, then it'll make the job a bit easier for them. But let's take this to bits and see if we can make one good one out of two not so good. Let's have a look. It looks the same. There's a part number on there. Can you see? See that part number? What we'll do is we'll take this one to bits and we'll check the part number and make sure they're the same part. I need to get this off without damaging it. Come on, come on, come on. Yes! It's a good job I go to the gym. Right, let's have a look at these part numbers. If we put the two bits together, I'll zoom in. There is the two part numbers. 88B, 2780. Oh, I've got an EF and an AB. EF, AB. What do you reckon that means? They look the same. I think what we'll do is we'll just have a go fitting it. I need this little rubber boot thing off, so we'll see if we can get that off there. Just lube it up. It should hopefully just slide over the top of this bit here. You know, lube always helps, fellas. There we go. So I think these are the same. This is the new one. What I'm going to do before I fit it is I'm going to take it to work, blast this rust off. This bit here holds a rubber boot up to save all your handbrake mechanism getting wet when it rains. We'll take our time masking the button up because we don't want any paint on the button. I'm going to now paint it with some gloss black. This is my paint booth, by the way. Just got to like step over the bent scooters and stuff, but it's the job. The paint has dried on this handbrake cable. Now hopefully, now that I've spent all the time taking it out, it should fit on the car, even though the old one has a different part number to the one we're putting on. So what we're going to do is, we're going to put the well, first off I'm going to take this masking tape off the end of the switch button even. There we go. There we go, it's all off. Put two handles. This is the, not like a standard Sierra one, this is a Cosworth handbrake handle. So we'll put this on here, hopefully it'll just push on. God, stiff this mind, come on. That was a bit of a battle getting this handle on, but we've got it on, the button's working, it's working all this ratchet bit here, can you see? We'll fit this back on the car. I've also, while I painted that up, I've painted up these blocks. These go between the prop shafts, it's like a spacer for the prop shaft. I've also painted up this bit was all rusty. This goes under the handbrake, like under there, to kind of hold this rubber gasket up to keep the water off everything, keep the water out. So let's fit it all back on the car and check it's working. Quick hoover to remove all the dust and mouse poo that's accumulated in the car over the years. Then we'll just slide the handbrake handle through the hole in the chassis or the gearbox tunnel. Then we'll just bolt it all back down nice and tight. There's the handle on. Let's get under the car, put everything else back on and check the handbrake's working. Like I say, this is a different part number to what should be on the car. So here you can see the bracket I was on about that holds a rubber boot up to save the weather getting into your handbrake handle, and you can see I've replaced the nut and bolt here with a pin to make it easier for next time. Then we'll reattach the handbrake cable to the back calipers. Next we'll bolt the prop shaft up, which I didn't need to remove but I've done it anyway. To be honest, it probably made the job easier. Right, that is the handbrake cable, the prop donut all put back on. Let's get out from under the car and build up the interior. Put the centre console and that back in. Tell you what, too fat to get under these cars now. So that's everything wired back up, everything connected, tightened up. The handbrake is working, I think. We'll have to get the wheel on. We'll check the handbrake, make sure everything's working as it should. Take these gloves off so my hands are nice and clean when we build up the interior. Over the moon with this fellas, absolutely over the moon. This has turned out spot on. Right fellas, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed that, and please remember I am not a professional working on cars, I'm just a fellow in a garage, so if you see us making any mistakes, leave some in the comments of what I can do better next time. And if anyone has a boot lock for Sierra Cosworth, drop us a message on Instagram. Mine is no good, but yet again, thanks for watching and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.